The trailer for Madam Web is one of the worst things I've seen this year when it comes to film. Hello, I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How you doing today, Will?
Cam, I'm so I'm first of all, I'm super glad that I don't have to talk about the Marvels on this particular episode of the Everything podcast because I have I have so many bad things to say about that movie that it actually depresses me how many bad things I have to say about that film. So I'm just happy that I get to wait at least another week before I completely just unleash on that movie. So for that reason, I'm actually doing really well. And how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Until the What If trailer came out today, I was doing really bad because I saw that Madam Web trailer, but then the What If season 2 trailer came out, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can start feeling a little better. And I still have not seen the Marvels yet. I do not, I don't, there, if is, I don't really want to go see it by myself. I mean, my mom's not even interested in watching it, and that's wild. I mean, she's been interested in every other Marvel movie. My dad's just checked out of Marvel at this point. He has so much hate for the more recent Marvel movies. Um, my mom even liked Thor: Love and Thunder, and she has zero interest in watching the Marvels, and
Wow.
neither do I. So if someone asks me to go, if I have nothing to do, and I mean nothing, then I will go see the Marvels. But there are just other things I'd rather be doing than watching the Marvels, where I could just wait a month for it to come on Disney Plus. Um, but at some point, I will watch it. Um, I'm just very disappointed with what I'm hearing about it. But since we're not here to discuss the Marvels, since we haven't both seen it yet, and when we do discuss it, I'd like to do at least half of the episode dedicated to the Marvels, or at least, or maybe a whole episode. We'll see. we'll see how
Yeah.
we like it by that point. So right off the bat, I mentioned it earlier before the intro. Madam Web. Um, oh my God, Will, this looks so bad. It looks like a fan film. I was looking at the comments and someone said it looks like a fan film, and I agree. Have you heard of Spider-Man Lotus, Will?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so it was this big Spider-Man fan film that was hyped up for a while because it had some cool VFX in it and it looked professional, and it ended up being horrible. And the cast and crew did some things that weren't great. They are not great people, but the movie itself wasn't good. Spider-Man Lotus looks like Madam Web. Oh my goodness. What even is it? There's nothing drawing me to watch this movie at all. What is going on here, Will? What were your thoughts?
Unless you are Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy, Thor Ragnarok, or the Guardians of the Galaxy films, I have a very hard time finding superheroes believable when they are cracking jokes in life-threatening situations. And that, when I watched the Madam Web trailer, I said, "Oh, there is a trailer that personifies why I'm bothered by that." Like, I got that vibe all throughout that trailer. So I'm automatically not drawn to it for that reason. I'm just so afraid that I'm going to be watching a movie with characters that feel 0% believable. That is my fear with that film. And to be honest with you, that's really all that I have to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. And one thing I'm also extremely upset about is I learned today that as it has the same writers as Morbius. And as everyone knows, Morbius wasn't a great movie. Um, so right off the bat, we already kind of know how this is gonna go. And I thought there would at least be some cameos or something in the trailer, or at least something that would draw us to this character that we know nothing about. But no, it's just a poorly designed Spider-Man costume. Alright, Will, do you even understand what's going on in the trailer?
Oh, what is like this Madam Web character or whoever the lead character is, what's going on with her exactly? How does this connect to Spider-Man? Like now, granted, I understand that maybe they're just trying to tease it right now, and they're gonna have the film describe what's going
Yeah.
on, but like how does this how does the lead character how does this connect to Spider-Man? I'm just super confused on that front.
Yeah, how does this. It almost felt like a horror movie, almost, with that poorly designed Spider Man suit. You noticed that too, Will. I mean, that red and black suit looks horrid. I thought. I mean, it felt like a horror movie. Why was that Spider-Man chasing after, which we'll probably learn in the film? But they gave us no context. We don't know what's happening. I mean, I'm sure there's a breakdown video somewhere that explains it. But me, as going in not knowing anything about Madam Web, or really, I all I pretty much knew was this going to be a multiverse movie. Um, so not knowing much other than that going into this, like I think everyone else was. More people probably had less knowledge than me going into this. I can only imagine what those people are thinking right now. I mean, I didn't see a single web get shot. So how is this even a Spider-Man movie? I mean, what is going on? I mean, this just looks like a mess, like a low budget mess. The Morbius trailers look better. I mean, I am, yeah, I'm kind of disgusted by Madam Web, and I'm not here to just hate on these Sonyverse movies, because I think you do too. We both enjoy the Venom movies for what they are. They're fun superhero action movies, you know. I know you didn't, but I thought the Craven the Hunter movie trailer looked good, but then it got delayed a year, so it's probably not going to end up being that good because we all know rewrites in Marvel lead to weaker movies overall because they try to do too much and it ends up being too much and just not that good. But for Madam Web, Will, I actually had some expectations going in to the trailer. Now they've all just been thrown away. I am severely disappointed from what I've seen. Um, but let's talk about something good, Will. Loki season 2 was a masterpiece. Oh my goodness, was that good? Wow, I was so impressed and sad that this will be it for Loki. I mean, Tom Hiddleston said it on Jimmy Fallon. He's done. Which is sad. I'm sure he'll return for Secret Wars. Um, but until then, we won't get Loki. And as of right now, he's one of the better characters with one of the better shows in the MCU, with the best show arguably in the MCU. And that's gone. That's gone now. So I maybe we don't have a Tony Stark right now. That's what I'm trying to get across. We don't have a Tony Stark. Loki could have been like a good Tony Stark, but no, he's managing the multiverse. I think our closest bet could be someone like Shuri or Doctor Strange as being the next Tony Stark. But what are your thoughts on Loki season 2? Will.
I gotta give them a lot of credit because I felt they saved the best for last. My favorite two episodes, probably of the entire show, were episodes 5 and 6, the final two episodes of season two. Although I really enjoyed episode 3 of season two as well. What I yeah, I have a lot of positive things to say about Loki season two, but the most positive thing I would like to say, and what I appreciated about it, is that if you compare it to the other live action Marvel show that came out earlier this year, Secret Invasion, I thought Secret Invasion's best episodes were two, three, and four. And then in five and six, the final two episodes of that show, it tailed off and it wasn't as good.
That's usually what
Loki
happens with most Marvel shows
Right.
these days.
Loki saved the best for last. I thought episodes five and six, the final two episodes of season two, were the best episodes of the entire season. So I give Loki season two massive credit for nailing the landing, and saving their best for last. And I'm going to end on this. Tom Hiddleston is one of the best actors in the MCU. I mean,
Agreed.
how good is this guy? I want to make sure that we take a moment to appreciate how good he's been. He was faced with playing a villain, and then he had to completely reinvent him in this show. And now he makes you like him and actually root for him. I think we underestimate how hard that job is as an actor. And if this really is it for him, I just want us to be able to take the time to give him the respect that he deserves, because I think
Yeah.
he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best actors in the entire MCU, and I think that this season continued to prove that.
Yeah. And I was looking at his IMDb the other day, and he's not in a whole lot of movies. I mean, he's in all these big Marvel movies like Thor, Thor Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers 1, Infinity War, Endgame. He has his own show, but that's all for Marvel. But aside from that, he's not in a huge amount of other movies. So I'm excited to see if he picks up any other big roles aside from the MCU, like Robert Downey Jr. did when he finished with the MCU. He was in Oppenheimer, um, and he had his own documentary about his father. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see what Tom Hiddleston does in the future, because he like you said, he is an incredible actor. One of the better actors in the MCU, probably the best as of now, and one of the best overall for including Robert Downey Jr., etc. Um, so yeah, I bid him farewell. I hope he comes back for Secret Wars. But yeah, I also feel like the Loki finale also left the MCU in a place where they could kind of veer away from Kang, don't you think? Because now Loki's in charge of the multiverse, so there is a way for them to kind of slither their way out of this whole Kang thing. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got a point there. I mean, like what they did with Loki in the finale did open the door up for that. I also thought about how that left the door open for them to move aside from Kang, but I just think Marvel's in a funk right now because I just think the Kang villain has has been so promising, and if this Jonathan Majors situation turns out the way we don't want it to turn out, I just feel like unless they're able to get a villain who's so incredible that he makes you forget about Kang, I just think it's gonna be really hard to watch future Marvel stuff without him in it, without thinking about him from when he was there when he showed so much promise. So even though I think the finale did open up the door for that, I still don't think it's gonna go smoothly if they're gonna have to make a transition.
Yeah. So here is my idea. If they if they were to, I mean, I don't really see how they could do this, but this is what could think could be cool. I don't think they'll really do it. Um, but the High Evolutionary maybe could he would be a good new villain. I know he's well dead pretty much, but he was so good in Guardians. I don't know if they found a way to at least bring his that Chukwudi Lawuji. I probably butchered his name so bad. I apologize. But if they could get the High Evolutionaries actor, maybe to recast Kang with, which might be a little weird at first because he's already played another character. in the MCU. But he was so great in that movie. Maybe he could reprise or take Jonathan Major's role, or just have the High Evolutionary be the villain. I don't know. It's definitely a stretch for sure. Um, but he was just so amazing in Guardians 3 that I would totally be open to that.
Yeah, I definitely think you've got a point there. I mean, obviously he is dead, but the multiverse, opens up a way for that to change. But
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea by you here, but I still think Marvel is in a really tough spot by
Yeah.
now. I cannot. I was so proud of Marvel because Thanos. How do you follow him up? That's a practically impossible follow up.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't think Quantumania was a great movie, I like still when I saw Jonathan Majors in that movie, I said they found a guy who can
Hmm.
be a successful follow-up to Thanos. Loki season 2 exemplified that. I think finding a follow-up to Thanos is so hard. They did it, and having to do it again, I think it's way easier said than done.
Yeah. I know, and we can
I
just
just
cut.
feel like they've done all this setup with Kang, and then they would have to go back and change things and reset up things. I just think it's a really bad situation for them.
Yeah, I agree, and we can all just cross our fingers and hope that Jonathan Major's legal situation goes the way we want it to. And that's about all we can do right now. But you know what else we can do, Will? We can look forward to two new MCU projects that are almost guaranteed to be good. Echo and Deadpool 3. Both of which I have really high expectations for. That the reason for Deadpool being that the first two were fantastic, and now that Hugh Jackman will be reprising his role as Wolverine, makes it even better. Um, and based off the trailers for Echo, it looks like a really good show with Wilson Fisk as a lead character, which is very exciting. So yeah, the future of Marvel after the Marvels movie is looking good. Aside from Jonathan Major's legal situation, but the upcoming things we have, upcoming projects are looking good. And you know what I think, Will?
What's that?
I think it would have been nice if because next year the only Marvel movie we'll have is Deadpool 3. So, and I guess we'll have Echo then, but it's a TV series. I would like if Marvel did a few more special presentation films, like Werewolf by Night and Guardians Holiday Special, both of which I thought were really super fun time. And it's basically just like watching a mini movie, you know? It's a lot of fun. Like a MCU special, you know? Speaking of special, my show The Barbershop on my channel Public Alley 43 is having a holiday special that will be out soon.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, that's beside the point. But anyway, yeah, I think it would be cool if Marvel sprinkled in a few more special presentation, short movies or whatever, specials. Yeah, because the two that they've released, I've really enjoyed. So would be nice, but probably won't get it because Marvel doesn't really like listening to their fans right now. But you know, I'm sure they'll work it out some way, somehow. I mean, it's Marvel; they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they're owned by Disney, so I'm sure they'll figure it out. Moving on from Loki and that topic, we have What If Season 2. Um, Blown away. Looks phenomenal. I stated last episode, I believe, that What If is one of my favorite Marvel TV shows. So I am so excited that we're getting a season 2. So soon, actually. I mean, I am really looking forward to this. I think it's one of the better Marvel products overall, actually. The animation's fantastic. The stories are awesome. And it looks like they're going to be continuing some stories and introducing new ones, which is really cool. So yeah, I am pretty excited for What If season two. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I definitely think What If season one is one of the better Marvel TV shows for sure. I really enjoyed it. Season two looks to continue that quality, and I'm just, one of the things that I'm like, and allow me to say, whenever we talk about the Marvels on this show, I've got a big thing to say about just how I feel about this franchise in general that will tie into the Marvels, but I'm going to tease a little bit of that here by saying, what I'm sad about with Marvel right now is that, like, if I look at like some of their recent movies, like Black Widow and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and even though I wasn't wild about it, Thor and Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy, those are
Yeah.
some of my favorite Marvel characters right there. And when I look at upcoming projects of Marvels, with the exception of like Daredevil and Wilson Fisk and maybe a few other people, I don't see characters that I'm super invested in, and I don't see like a bunch of product that makes me go, oh my gosh, I just can't wait to see that. I can't wait another minute to see that. So like I'm sad with Marvel right now because I feel like when I look to their future, I don't see projects that involve my favorite characters from the past
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So I'm excited that What If season two is going to give us another chance to see people from the original Avengers team again, even if it's going to be variants of them from the multiverse and not the versions of them that we know and love. The
Mm-hmm.
chance to see some of our favorite characters from the Infinity Saga and the beginning of the Multiverse Saga really excites me about What If season two. So that just gives me a very warm feeling, and I'm really excited about it from that standpoint. And one more thing I'll say, you talked about now, obviously, there'll be Madam Web and there'll be Craven the Hunter next year, but that's Sony, so that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
count. If we're talking specifically MCU focused, you talked about how Deadpool 3 is the only Marvel project coming out next year. And you said you didn't think Marvel had been listening to their fans. I actually think they do here. I think they're seeing that superhero fatigue is real. People are having issues with how much stuff they're
Yeah,
putting
you're
out.
right,
They're saying it's
actually.
a quality over quantity issue. So I do feel like they're listening to their fans here. And on the topic of quality over quantity, and specifically, this is, I'm going to end with this. This is my final reaction to Deadpool 3 being the only MCU movie coming out next year. And this has to do with quality over quantity. My reaction to Deadpool 3 being the only MCU movie coming out next year is this.
Yeah.
I love it. Great job, Marvel. You're learning your lesson. I love it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, I would like a special presentation, like I said a little bit ago, but I think it'll be good. I mean, as much it'll be tough for us as Marvel fans to sit through a Marvel less year, um, because but you know, Deadpool 3 is, for me at least, and a Spider-Man No Way Home level amount of hype. So at least it's a huge movie that we have for the MCU this year. And yeah, I am ridiculously excited for Deadpool 3. Have you watched the first two yet?
I haven't, and I think if I do, that could raise my excitement for three even more. So I am reserving the right to have my excitement go off
Yeah.
after I watch the first two, which I of course will do to be able to talk more expertly about the third film coming out
Yeah.
next year.
I think Daredevil's one of the funniest Deadpool, not Daredevil, sorry, is one of the funniest characters in recent years. Just not for the MCU, just in general. He's just a really funny character. Ryan Reynolds does such a good job. Ryan Reynolds, I feel like, was born to play Deadpool. He was born to play the mark with a mouth, you know? Um, so, yeah, I am really looking forward to Deadpool 3, and I'm fine that that is the one Marvel movie that we'll be getting. If the Marvels ended up being the only Marvel movie we were getting, and that's what we had to look forward to, I would probably not be happy. But the fact that it is Deadpool 3, I am happy. But yeah. And now I think we should probably talk about the breaking news in Marvel. Alright, so as I'm sure you all have heard by now, since it's not that much of breaking news, it came out a few hours ago that Destin Daniel Cretton departs as director on Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. And as you know, he worked on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which I think is a fantastic Marvel movie. Um, but the fact that he will not be involved in the Kang Dynasty is a little bit concerning, because I'm not sure if he himself left because he was concerned about the project, or maybe he was kicked off because maybe they wanted to revamp the movie, which I could also see happening. Both things are both kind of concerning, because it means they don't like what they're seeing, or or Destin Cretton doesn't like what he's seeing either. Um, and it also impacts it because he is a phenomenal director. Because I mean, he did such great work on Shang-Chi. I thought him being involved with Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, directing that, would really boost the movie, and now seeing that he's not is kind of hurting it. What are your thoughts on this, Will?
Yeah, I enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I think it's part of what doesn't get talked enough about as a really superb uh Marvel movie year in 2021. I really enjoyed Black Widow. I enjoyed Shang-Chi against popular opinion. I did like the Eternals, and of course, how could I not love Spider-Man No Way Home? So I feel like Shang-Chi was just part of a really strong Marvel movie year in 2021. But if now, I think it's important to say details have not been revealed. I read a article from Variety today talking about this. There were no details revealed about why he departed, but if he did decide to depart on his own, let me tell you what I'm worried that might be attributed to. The guy writing the movie, whose name I believe is Jeff Loveness, and guess what movie he also wrote?
What?
Little movie by the name of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He is the person who is writing this movie. And I'm going to throw a theory out there. If
Oh
there's a
no.
reason, if he decided to leave on his own, Dustin Daniel Creighton, if he decided to leave on his own, I hate to say it, but it would not surprise me one bit if that was the reason why. I've got major concerns about this movie because of who the writer is, and I think that and I personally think that that may be the reason that the director left.
Yeah, this is not good for us as Marvel fans. Um, but I'd like to see how this plays out, and I'm sure Marvel will have some sort of statement in the coming weeks, either saying on they're bringing on new directors and they want to revamp it, kind of like what they did with Daredevil Born Again, which I could definitely see being the case. Or it could also be like you said, Dustin Daniel Cretton had concerns about the script, which is reasonable for him to leave, I guess. I mean, I want to see how this plays out. I want to see how this goes on in the coming weeks. But if nothing comes up of it, I'm going to be concerned even more, because that means Marvel doesn't want to talk about it, and that means he probably just left the project because he was concerned about the script, which is not good for us Marvel fans. So this is kind of worrying news. But for now, with Marvel, I want to focus on the stuff that's in the near future and the stuff that we have, like Loki. Deadpool, Echo, and yes, the Marvels. Um, but yeah, so those movies are way in the future. The MCU will figure it out at some point.
Uh, uh,
Also,
yeah.
we're
Allow me
guess
to quickly say this. Apparently, sources are saying that Jeff Loveness, it says, is off of the Kang
oh
Dynasty and that he fell off before the strike. And then I see this thing down here that says, uh, um, industry insider Jeff Schneider and the MCU book writer Joanna Robinson have stated that the Quantumania writer Jeff Loveness isn't attached to Avengers: The Kang Dynasty anymore. Schneider spoke about Loveness's removal on the Hot Mic podcast while the Writers Guild of America strike was on. So now, for me, I like to wait until a really credible source like Variety or the Hollywood Reporter comes out and confirms this. But
yeah,
if it's true that he's off as a writer, then my hopes for the movie will be regained again.
yeah. I mean, like you said, I just want to wait for it to get in the future where we get more info about this movie. We don't know anything about what's going to happen with this, but I think the main thing we need to focus on right now and is Jonathan Majors. That's the main thing, and once that's figured out,
Yeah.
we can move on from there because the King Dynasty might not even happen. So we need to see what happens with old Johnny, and then I think it's we're able to make predictions for the movie and move on with that. Um,
You could make an argument that in some ways, I mean, not that future Marvel projects and their quality don't matter a lot, but you could make a legitimate argument that the Jonathan Majors situation is the only thing that matters in the MCU right now, or
yeah,
definitely the most prominent issue.
yes, the most
I mean,
important issue.
this
Yeah,
is just like man, like this has the
it's
chance to
bad.
be a colossal situation
Yeah,
right here. Like I don't want to underestimate how choppy of waters Marvel is in right now. This is I am worried about this
yes,
Jonathan Major
I
situation.
agree. I mean, do you know if he has a trial soon? Do you know when
Yeah,
it
I
is?
believe he's got a trial coming up. I don't know what it is, but I know it's this year.
All right, so we just
Fingers
could
crossed. And allow me to say, if
hope it
he
goes well.
does go on to get accused of the things that he was accused of, man, the amount of respect that I will lose for him. I will
Yeah,
just be filled with so much just disgust suddenly toward him. I mean, I just, if he really is accused of these things, boy, will my opinion change on him, is all that I have to say.
I know. And for now, I don't really have an opinion on him. I think he's a fantastic actor. I don't want to make any comments on him as a person because if I say he's good, it could come out later that he's actually a horrible person, and if he's bad, it could come out. And if I say I don't think he's a good person, it could come out later that he wasn't found guilty of anything. Um, so yeah, only time will tell. I really want to hear how this trial goes down. I really hope he's not found guilty just for the sake of the MCU. Um, but for now, it's a waiting game. So next on the list here, we have the NFL. Well, I won my fantasy league by point 0.3 this week, and all my players did really good, and I won by point 0.3. So it was whenever that happens, and whenever because all my players got pretty much all of my players got over 20 points, and when that happens, you know it's a good week in fantasy, if the match is still that close, you know it's a good week in the NFL. Um, so I definitely think it was, except for our Patriots. Like, come on.
I don't even know if they deserve to be talked about on this podcast
I
anymore, to be
I
honest with
agree.
you.
I mean, I agree. Actually,
What
it's
I would
sad.
rather say on this podcast right now is Buffalo Bills, what's up?
Yeah,
What's going on with you?
maybe it's a slump.
Weren't you supposed to be weren't you supposed to be the team going up against the Kansas City Chiefs? Weren't you supposed to be right there in the mix with the Bengals and the Chiefs? Wasn't it supposed to be the Chiefs, Bengals, and you? What is going on? What's going on with them, Cam?
I mean, there's still time left in the season. They can step it up a little bit. Um, Me personally, I think Josh Allen's doing worse than expected this season. But I think as time goes on, I think they'll start to catch on and get better and better as the season continues. But once again, this is the second time I've said it today. Only time will tell. Um, but as of now, one of the people I'm the most impressed with in the NFL right now is Patrick Mahomes. He's just so good at football, Will. He is nasty. I mean, just watching him play out there, it's crazy. I mean, I am so impressed. I mean, he gets me like 20 points in fantasy every week. I am so impressed with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's one might say he's more talented than Tom Brady. Is that a hot take, Will?
I do think it's a hot take. I can see why you say it, but okay, maybe talented, but you want to talk about processing a game,
Yeah.
dissecting an NFL defense. No one was better at that than Tom Brady when he was in the league. And I'm sorry, but for people out there ready to have a Brady Mahomes GOAT
Mahomes hasn't even been
conversation,
in the league
I'm
that
sorry.
long.
No, 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 no. Obviously, 7 Super Bowls versus 1 is the obvious thing one can throw out. No, 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 no. I'm going to take it a step further. Let's talk about their individual playoff matchups. AFC Championship game that took place in Kansas City in January of 2019. Weren't the Kansas City Chiefs supposed to have this prolific offense and oh, the Patriots were too old and too slow that season. This is the Chiefs' time, and they're going to beat the Patriots in this game. No, Patriots win that game. Then let's flash forward 2 seasons later, Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs expected to win that game. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes was dealing with an injury, and there was stuff going on with their offensive line. But still, Kansas City Chiefs were expected to win that game. Did they? Nope. And not only did they not, they got the wheels blown off of them. They got blown out. So for me, not only do I look at the fact that it's 7 Super Bowls versus 1 Super Bowl, but if you look at the playoff matchups where these guys have met, even though they're not on the field at the same time, Mahomes is 0-2 against Brady. And what can you say to that?
I agree with you, and I don't think Mahomes is at the level of Tom Brady yet, because he hasn't been in the league half the time Tom Brady has yet. I mean, as he continues to progress, we can definitely start to make that choice. But as of right now, Tom Brady is probably the better player. Um, but if Patrick Mahomes continues to do this throughout his career, then the conversation definitely could be had. And I'm also excited for next year of the NFL because Tom Brady will be commentating, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know when he's expected to start, but if it is next season, that'll be extremely exciting. Although I believe he's supposed to step into the lead color commentary role for Fox, and I would feel bad for Greg Olson because I think he and Kevin Burkhardt have been doing a really excellent
Agreed,
job
yeah.
for Fox as the lead play by play and color commentary guys for that. net for that network, and I can't think of a better Joe Buck Troy Aikman replacement than what they've been. So I just hope Tom's good, because if he's not, I'm gonna feel
Yeah.
bad for Greg Olson that he lost that spot. And one more thing. Now, listen, if Patrick Mahomes wins like 5 Super Bowls, that would be incredible. And let's say he does something like win 3 in a row, that would be incredible. And then you could start having the conversation. But this is how good Tom Brady is. Tom Brady could have, or Patrick Mahomes could have 5 to even 6 Super Bowls, and I could still say that Brady is the GOAT over him because he has 7. That is how incredible Tom Brady is.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes could have 5 Super Bowls and still not win the GOAT debate. That's how good Tom Brady is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I don't think it's all Super Bowls. Like, look at Barry Sanders. He never won a Super Bowl, and he's one of the greatest running backs of all time. Um, I don't think it's all about Super Bowl. It definitely helps to win a Super Bowl in the GOAT argument. Um, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, right now, he's looking promising to get into the Super Bowl this year. Which wouldn't surprise me that much. But we'll have to see how it plays out. And I'm excited for when Patrick Mahomes gets to that point in his career when we can have a legitimate discussion and bring up actual things that there could be a debate, like almost like the Michael Jordan LeBron debate of who's the GOAT. You know?
To be honest with you, because because TB12 is my personal favorite NFL player of all
Of
time. There
course,
will there
yes.
will
I
never
mean,
be somebody that I love more than him.
he got my
And
team all these Super Bowls. I mean,
exactly, totally. But listen, from an entertainment standpoint, would a Mahomes Brady actual real legitimate GOAT debate be amazing? Of course. But I'm going to talk as a fan here for a second. As a Tom Brady fan, to be completely honest with you, I don't want that day to ever come.
yeah.
I don't want to get to a point where I have to hear all these actual legitimate arguments that Patrick Mahomes could be the GOAT over Tom Brady. From an entertainment standpoint, of course that would be great. It would be an incredible debate, and it would just be a debate that would be made to dominate sports talk. But from a fan perspective and from a Tom Brady fan perspective, I don't want that day to ever come. And I actually love Patrick Mahomes and have a ton of respect for him. But as a Tom Brady fan, I don't want that day to ever come.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I'm like I said, I respect Tom Brady so much. He brought my team all these Super Bowls. Um, but like you said, for entertainment, I think it'd be a fun discussion to have, even if I think that Tom is the greater uh, quarterback. But that's about it for today's every episode of the Everything Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and like I said earlier in the episode, um, my show, The Barbershop, has a holiday special coming out. Um, it'll be out by Christmas time. So yeah, definitely check that out when it's out. I'll let you guys know when it's out. It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Will, thanks for joining me as always. And yeah, that's it.